Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all in the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all in the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure? It's cultist coffee. What makes it cultist coffee? I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it. Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Oh, my camera is not focusing. We'll see if we can fix that in some way. Good morning. It is good to see everyone. Let me go over. See if I can fix that. Welcome to my home. Welcome to the office. Welcome to the morning grind. I hope everybody is doing great. I have been, let's see, focus. That looks better. Okay. I have been gone basically for the past 72 hours up at the winery. Barely enough time to come back here and sleep. So, but I'm here. I'm here and I'm ready now. I hope that everybody has had a great week. This is Mother's Day, right? This is Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to everyone. If you forgot, make sure you remember now. So everybody text your mothers at least. Everybody text your mothers. Hopefully you're going out. Who knows? Probably going out for brunch or something like that in a little bit. We were doing Mother's Day at the winery yesterday, doing Mother's Day trains. So don't forget, everybody. Hey, good morning, Lynn. Good morning. Good morning, Zero the Blade and Mike. Good morning. Good morning, Brett. Good morning. Yep, let's grind this morning. Oh, no, that's fine. That's what it's called. Let's see. So we are simultaneously broadcasting, since it's a cultist related stream. We're broadcasting on the He's Geekverse channel, which is where the morning grind is ordinarily held, but then also over on the Cultists YouTube channel, and then also on the Cultists page on Facebook. And I just posted this to the Cultist fan group over on Facebook as well, so they can watch there as well. So if you're there, welcome. I am wearing, I just noticed I put on one of the Cultist shirts this morning. Thank you, Mama Shub. So I got Thank You, Mama Shub on today. That's gonna be one of the shirts that's coming back out when we do this Kickstarter campaign. The Wednesday, Brianna and I were working. Brianna and I spent a good bit of Wednesday working, and but basically what we decided to do was go back through the Cultist season 3 scripts. So we were like, okay, like how, like we got an idea of what it would take to shoot the Cultist season 3, but in order to have an actual idea of what it would take to shoot the Cultist season 3, we need to have finalized scripts. And it's been a while since we have written those. And so as I recalled, I remembered that it had been sent back to me for, we need to improve the beginning, like the opening scene. And then there was another scene that I had a vision for that I needed to write. And I remember that's basically how it was left. But it's been a long time since we had looked at any of those scripts. And so Brianna and I spent about, I think about 3.5 hours or 2.5 hours, something like that. Maybe 3 hours looking at all of the scripts. There's James. Welcome, James. And Lynn is here. Yes, please do hit the like button. That'd be great. So we basically did a read through of all of the season 3 scripts, and we came to the conclusion that they need extensive rewrites. We wrote those before we did table talk, like before we really got serious about our study of story structure and of writing and all of that. So all of that was written before then. So that does show personal growth, right? We were reading this and going, okay, I don't think that that it requires much more than just like some editing. That it's got some fantastic stuff in it. But it needs to actually be rewritten and revised in a much larger way, kind of restructured, actually, in some cases, restructured. Because there were parts, like when we're looking at story structure, we're like, oh, this is what we were trying to do. This is the beat we were trying to hit and things like that. But it wasn't well executed. So in one way, it's like, oh, okay, that's a bummer that, okay, we're not as far as I thought we were on that. But on the other hand, that does show a lot of growth. So I'm not sure what that status is going to be. We're running out of time. Like, I'm bleeding time. Like, I've said that before, but it's always true. I'm absolutely bleeding time. Here, another week has gone by. The working at the winery really cuts into time, especially when you're doing 14-hour days. But so I'm bleeding time week by week. And especially with the status of the scripts, well, I might talk to Cameron about that. I'm going to talk to Cameron about what actually it is that needs to be done. What the most efficient use of all of our time and energy is. We know that Brianna needs a short film, and Brianna's a short film script is ready. So it may be that we end up, if the funds are raised, we might do the horror short film before trying to do the Cultist season 3. We'll just see. And there are other options actually for the Cultist as well. I won't go into them all right now, but she and I talked about, okay, well, what are some different options and things like that. But we got season 1 up. We still have season 2 to relaunch, because season 2 did not get watched very much at all here on YouTube. So season 2 is going to be pretty fresh when it comes out here. But we'll do season 2 after we do the Cultist RPG. So we will see. So that's our status on that at the moment. Like Len says, you just need a big musical number and maybe a water ballet starring Esther Williams. Yeah, well, maybe that's it. We don't. Well, we were going to have a concert. There's a concert in season 3, so there would actually be a musical number. All right. So that's what's going on there. If you are new, I'm not quite as set up as I'd like to be. Never am, given the current situations. But I will say that if you are here and you are not connected with us, well, not only please do come by and like if you're on the Cultist channel and you are watching here, and you're not watching on Heath's Geekverse, you might want to come over. If you're hearing on Heath's Geekverse, but you haven't been over to the Cultist channel and done all of that, then and subscribed over there, that would be great. If you'd like all of the links, you can get all of the links right here, and also sign up for the $500 dice giveaway. When you enter to sign up for the dice giveaway, then it also prompts all of the different YouTube links and things like that, so you can get them all. $500 dice giveaway right here. There's the link. We will do that drawing when this RPG comes out on Kickstarter. Right, exactly. A concert. The park would be a sick place to bring the band. Exactly. We've been setting that up. So eventually, we have to do a concert with Dave, and so we had put that in season 3, and we had thought, season 3 is a bigger thing. It would be a bigger thing on a lot of levels. And one of them is like doing a concert and having people like as extras, in the crowd. That's part of Dave's band. That would be fun. But our current state is up in the air with regard to that. So I'm just taking things one step at a time here. The big step remains season 1 paired with this RPG and all of our shirts and things like that coming out on Kickstarter. And then we'll release season 2. And then hopefully by then we'll go with the board game. So we will see. All right. So I was working on the RPG a little bit. I'm not ready to go over this section right here, but just as PH was talking about, PH Arbex was talking about, it was Barbarians of Lemuria that kind of could be used as a model for spell casting, and I think that's right. Now, one issue that's going on here is I'm afraid that, as with all of my projects, controlling scope is sometimes a thing here. And I want to get this to the point where Brianna can lay it out. And we had said last time the idea would be 48 pages, but we do have a lot of things that are like single page, or like all of the narrative roles for like single pages and things like that. So I'm not really sure. And then occasionally we've come by and we've added stuff. So separate from the section on magic and the elder gods in the Cultists, separate from that section, I did start writing up a section on spells and spell casting, because there can be such an important narrative part of the story. A lot of season 1 and season 2. Basically all of season 1 and season 2, their story arcs were driven by people trying to cast magic spells. So the Barbarians of Lemuria did kind of have a structure for that, a framework for it. And so I started to incorporate all of that. So as a separate section, I started writing spells and spell casting to talk about how to use spells in that fashion to kind of drive the story arc. So I'm not ready to talk about that here, because I didn't get it finished, and that's probably not so fun to do. But I think that as far as the live stream goes, but I'm going to finish that because I think that was an important part of this. We also talked about as far as adding things go, we're going to divide the section on checks, because we kept having things that apply to trouble checks and to sway checks. And so I've been trying to, of course, this is based on the low stakes rules by Craig Campbell. And so I've also been trying to improve the structure if I can. If I think there's something that needs to be changed, I've been trying to work on the structure as well. And that's probably one of them. But we added material to better explain particularly what the troubles are, because they are so important. So we added material in there, which I think is better. It clarifies what exactly is going on here, I think. Hey, Retro. Good morning. Good to see you. Mike says, oh boy, I'm not very good at scope control in my projects either. Yeah, I keep... I'm not exactly sure how many words will go in the 48-page book. I keep trying to figure that out. But once we get this, once we get this written out, we'll find out. But it may be over. It may be over pages. The Trial of St. Gabriel ended up under, so I didn't have a 48-page book. I may have to move some of this stuff out to something separate, like all of these like narrative roles and things like that. We'll just have to see. Lynn says, since this is a comedy RPG, I presume that spells will not often work as intended. They may never work. I mean, they may never work. That's what we were talking about. I mean, did any of the spells cast in the Cultist ever work? No, I don't think they did. When the guys thought that they worked, you just had like a coincidence that it worked, and that was good enough. So, but that doesn't mean, yeah, because even if there is no magic, as we talked about up here, even if there is no magic, because most of the time in the show, the audience understands what the characters interpret as magical effects are actually entirely coincidental, and this may be the case for the players as well. Players might cast spells that coincidentally work, or they might misinterpret ordinary occurrences as omens from the gods. And then you can go on potentially great narrative arcs. Like, for instance, I mean, the Summoning Cthulhu. What happened in season 1? Well, the guys got it in their head that the cultists of the Yellow King was after them, and that the Yellow King was coming. So they decided, in all of their wisdom, to try to recruit Cthulhu, basically, to their cause. How do we defeat the Yellow King? Oh, by summoning Cthulhu. And so that was, they did their initial ritual in, what was that, episode 7, 8, 9, 10? Yeah, I believe that was episode, they encounter the cult of the Yellow King, I believe, in 6. Yeah, or they don't really encounter, but they're introduced the idea of the Yellow King in episode 6. And then in episode 7, they attempt their first way to solve that problem by casting a ritual to summon Cthulhu at the bird bath. It fails. They think they know why. That leads them to the ritual of the orgy in the next episode, and then the ritual of the branding, bodily mutilation in episode 9, and then an attempt at the recast of the summoning spell in episode 10. So that's a lot of art. That's half of that season 1 that was motivated by the casting of the spell. Not to mention in season 2, what actually starts them thinking about the Yellow King is that they are trying to cast a spell to raise a dead body in episode 2. So even if the spells aren't working, they can motivate story structure. So that's why I think this. Thank you, PH. I think this was a great idea and a great section to add in there. Good morning, Tomocrat. Good morning. Mike says, I have 70 pages, 32,000 words, and I still need to add spells and a few other things. Yeah, I'm sure. Good morning, Jason. Good morning. Did I just say Ritual of the Orgy? Yes, that the orgy is in episode 8. Yeah, the cultists, they have an orgy in episode 8. That was fun to shoot. I'll remember that night shooting the orgy scene up in the Airbnb that we rented in that. So yes, if you haven't seen The Cultist, that's episode 8. That's on YouTube now. All of season 1 is on YouTube right now. The Ritual of the Orgy is in episode 8. Okay, so we had been going through narrative roles. Computer being slow here. We had been taking a look at all of the narrative roles, and I don't think these are completely 100% finished, but I think that we don't need to spend time looking at these. I really wanted to go over to the gods too, so I think there's probably a little bit to polish here. I do want to think about again, what the troubles are and make sure that's clearly communicated. I think we added things to clearly communicate that last time, but I forget who it was. Was it Anon? I think it was Anon that was talking about, like, what exactly is this trouble meaning? Because it does have, I mean, you could probably make this game using Fate as well. I mean, you could probably think of this as a Fate-like game as well. I went with, trying to design the Cultist as a Fate-like game. I went with low stakes because when we read low stakes, we were like, oh my God, this is designed for a mockumentary. It was designed for, now that Craig designed that to mimic What We Do in the Shadows, and I had not watched What We Do in the Shadows when we did the Cultists. I wasn't introduced to it till afterwards, but it's the same kind of idea, mockumentary with this type of group, and so that works. But yes, I think there are elements of Fate-like aspects in here that these and we need consistency in their phraseology, because the caretaker, I mean, the trouble does two things, which we did articulate. The trouble tells you something about the status quo of your character's ordinary operating procedure that does not, that frequently gets them into trouble, that causes them pain or heartache or something like that. And then it tells you when you want to act counter to that, that's when you make the check. So it does two things. It tells you what a default state of your character is that makes things difficult for you, and then when to make the check in order to act counter to that. Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning. James says, how did that conversation go down? Hello, we're a film crew that would like to rent your home for a cultist orgy. I don't think I actually said it quite that way, but it was actually very difficult. You're talking about as far as getting the show produced. It was actually very difficult to find a home to shoot the Cultists in. You can't shoot it at my house because my house does not look like a standard suburban home. We ended up using my house for Shay and Acantha's house. Shay's room is my living room. No, Acantha's room is my living room, and then Shay's room is the gaming dungeon back here. So we ended up using my house, but we needed something that looked more typically suburban, and so that was difficult to find. I couldn't find anybody who would let us shoot, even my friends. Like, there was nobody who would let us shoot at the house, so we ended up having to go and rent a house. But we just said, hey, we're shooting this web show, and he was like, oh yeah, come on, that's great, come on by. So that's you're welcome to do it. So when we found one that looked right or looked acceptable to us, we just rented it for a few days, which actually worked very well. Because then we had just rented it, and we could leave equipment there in the bedrooms and things like that. So I do want to go through and look at all of those, at the troubles with that fresh set of eyes as we're going through. But I think by and large, the conflicted, we got what we need. I think the fanatic was one that we hadn't finished yet, and I was going to think about that in terms of Steve. Yeah. Yeah, we were still working on the sway skills, I think. That's all right. We'll skip that for now. The Grouch, looks like we got. The Lackey, looks like we did a lot of work on the Lackey. The Larper, we did a lot of work on that one. I think we've got it. The Maverick, looks like we've got it. The Metachromism, we got it. The Novitiate, we did a lot of work on the Novitiate as well. That's a really good one. The Provocateur, and there we go. Now we'll still have in the stretch goals I've got down here the Elder Gods just hanging out. Okay, so then the next thing, but let's go on to the cults here. James says, I would expect that location scouting to be pretty difficult in more rural areas. Well, doing any of this was more difficult in rural areas, particularly like rural Alabama. And that was actually part of it, that some people did not want something like the Cultists shot in their house. That was one of my friends. I probably could have done it at his house, but his wife was like, no. Doing a show about people who are in a cult worshiping elder gods, not happening in our house. So, but there are a lot of people like me around too. You just have to find them. Actually, I had, we did the branding ritual in my backyard. Well, we did the raising the dead scene in season 2, but then also the branding ritual in my backyard. And one of the neighbors did come over to ask me what it was I was doing, and he was not happy about like everybody in their robes and which gear and stuff like that around the fire pit. But hey, it's my backyard. I can do weird things if I want. But finally, the guy who owned the Airbnb was really cool. Okay, so the last thing somebody has to do is, as part of character creation, once they have their narrative role, is come over here to the different cults to come up with. And now we have got to come up with a power. What is it that being in this cult allows you to do? So you can mix and match between the narrative roles and the cultists, or the cults that you're in. So the narrative role is actually defining what you do. And by the way, I actually think about that quite a bit now. Even as seemingly simple and comedic as something like the low stakes RPG is, and the cultist RPG is that we're developing here. You know, in Dungeons and Dragons, you don't have something like a narrative role. You know, this is much for a more narrative style thing. If you're just going in and you're going to go kill monsters, then probably having a narrative role is not necessary. So how do you distinguish characters from one another? Well, you know, by their powers, basically. You've got, you know, the paladin and the thief and the fighter and whatever and the wizard. And how are they different when you're basically you're doing a dungeon crawl or something like that. That's how you distinguish people. But from a story perspective, you do put them. I like the idea of distinguishing characters by what kind of role they play in a narrative. I really like that. And then what they are. So your niche protection becomes your narrative role. And then your class. I mean, you could do this with something like D&D for a more narrative kind of thing. What are your narrative roles that you're going to be playing? And then the more incidental part of that is, are you a wizard, or are you a warrior, or are you a thief, or a fighter, or paladin, or whatever? And then multiple people could be paladins if they are all playing different narrative roles. And you don't have to separate your paladins by like, or the wizard by, this guy's got like ice magic and this guy's got fire magic, and that's why they're different. You could have multiple wizards as long as they are in the same narrative roles, or in different narrative roles, in different narrative roles. That's how you preserve that. So I want to think about that more when we do other types of more story-focused RPGs. Oh, Robert, let's see. Robert sent in a super chat. He's been a member for 10 months. Thank you very much, Robert. Robert says there could be a delusion check for when cultists are asked to believe something obviously coincidental. Yeah, our guys always fail that. Okay, so what have we got here? And I'm not completely happy with all these descriptions here. So we've got descriptions of gods here, and we don't all have to it could be charisma versus intelligence, or yeah, or you know, your spells are based on like your bluff skills too. Like this eclipse that just happened, that was totally me, right? So okay, so I was thinking about having I've got as my gods here written down: Azathoth, Cthulhu, Dagon, Nodens. We had an idea about a normie here, or somebody who's not in one, or as an option as a reformed cultists, because I'm thinking for time here, or not time, but space here rather. Maybe that one should be dropped, or possibly put down here. Oh, it looks like in the stretch goal folder here. Reformed cultist is one of them. So I think I put some notes down here about playing a non-cultist. Like, I think there should be a section on what does it mean to play a non-cultist. Because we do have, like I said, mom and dad are not members of any cult, though dad suggests you might have a cultist past in season 1, which is later confirmed in season 2. So that's kind of like reformed cultist, right? But mom is often the antagonist. You know, mom is standing in the way of what Mike wants. So, like, do you play Rob? I mean, do you play mom? Like, is that something? Well, I think we don't set that up here in this core book, but talk about that. Just talk about that in some notes here. Bella starts off as just like a provocateur, like a normie provocateur, although it's hinted at that maybe Rob got to her, and so starts bringing her into a cult, because there are some after credit scenes with Bella when she is desecrating the altar of Yog-Sothoth. And she comes in, she wants to be, and she's going to be part of the cult of Dagon to go to the orgy, the orgy party, which Mike shuts down. So let's move Normie out, but that gives us Azathoth, Cthulhu, Dagon. Now I got Nodens here, and I had Nodens here originally because I was like, if we need more stuff, I think maybe that can be moved out as well, because originally in like one of the earliest drafts of the season 1 scripts, we did have the cult of Nodens. There were a couple of other people who were part of the cult of Nodens, and they were like hunters who lived out in the woods. They were going to go get help from the cult of Nodens against the Yellow King, because the cult of Nodens are like the rangers out in the woods. So those scenes were in some early drafts, but that ended up getting dropped and not gone back to. So I thought that it might be a fun thing to go back to and include here. But actually, that also might be some type of like a stretch goal kind of thing. Yeah, I think some of these stretch goals could even be designed on stream during the campaign or something if they're hit. I think that would be fun. So I was focusing on core here. Our core then becomes Azathoth, Cthulhu, Dagon, Nyarlathotep, Shub, and Yog-Sothoth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6. That's probably enough. So if you have 6, we've got 13 core narrative roles, each one of which could be in any one cult. That's 78 different character options, just by crossing those two things. And of course, you can come up with your own sway skills and your own trouble skills. And you also only choose 3. So there are even options in there. So they don't all have to be alike. So there's a lot of options there. But I like the basic idea that narrative role and cult gives you 78 different options. And then I think we put a box in here about the Yellow King. Can you be a cultist of the Yellow King? Because none of our heroes are because in the cultists of the Yellow King are supposedly, or the supposed cultists of the Yellow King are the villains of the story. So I think we just talk about that and how you could incorporate the Yellow King. Maybe that's another stretch goal. I'm going to put that down here as a note. Yellow King. So if you do want to incorporate it, maybe we could put that down here. And the way that I'm thinking about these stretch goals, I'm taking a page from Kelsey's Shadow Dark Kickstarter, and that by the time this book is finished, I don't want to have to go and relay out the book and do more proof ordering and things like that. The book will just be the book, but things like stretch goals for any other thing that we are adding, those can be put on, like for instance, other cards that go with the game. See, Mom would probably make a better NPC. Great club for the GM to nudge the players with if necessary. See, that's what I think, and that's what I was going to say, is that ordinarily I think somebody like Mom would be an NPC, and that the normies are probably the ones who are villains, antagonists, things like that. Oh, Tomocrat says I like the Yellow King as a stretch goal, because I have an idea that would go back to what the cult of the Yellow King was like. Actually, because in earlier drafts of the Cultists, the first season, the Yellow King's cultists were explicitly in it. That it was like the rival group. I kind of had them set up, like a 90s sports movie. Our heroes were, of course, they belong to multiple cults, but our heroes were, one team, and then the opposing team was the cult of the Yellow King. Like, remember Mighty Ducks? It was loosely. I mean, this was not terribly well developed, but this was my idea that I was going for, because we ended up not having the cultists, the cults of the Yellow King in it. But you think about the Mighty Ducks, the movie Mighty Ducks. So the Mighty Ducks were like our cultist team, and then the main opponent, the team that's always in black, they have to defeat for the championship. That would be like the cultists of the Yellow King. The cultists of the Yellow King, we were contrasting because the cultists of the Yellow King had their act together. So all of our guys were bumbling like they do, but then when you saw the cultists of the Yellow King, they were like in formation, like uniformed, and they were like able to accomplish their tasks. Zero the Blade, member for 15 months. Thank you, Zero. Zero says, while I don't understand Lovecraftian, the gods are sounding like a dark group of Digimon. Sounds like a fun homebrew crossover, and I don't know anything about Digimon. So we need powers. Let's go with that. Let's just try to do Azathoth, Cthulhu, Dagon, Nyarlathotep, Shub, and Yog-Sothoth. And we could have we need at least one power for them. But if we could even have options here if we had good ones. So Azathoth, I want to have like 3 or 4 sentences up here about Azathoth. Azathoth is the blind idiot god. Yeah, exactly. The Yellow King were the cool kids. Yes, exactly. That would probably also still make it a great kind of show that actually, of course, that requires also greater budget, more people. That's you start this. The show has a lot of people in it anyway. I mean, the Cultists, which is a major thing to have started with anyway. But being an ensemble cast kind of deal, so cutting people was a good idea. So the Cult of Nodens got cut. The actual showing the Cultists of the Yellow King got cut, and moving them to a more ambiguous status. We thought it was funny that there could be absolutely nobody after these guys. All right, Azathoth is the blind idiot god. Is a blind idiot god. I don't know why. Okay. And creator of the universe. He wallows. Let's get this. Azathoth is the blind idiot god. Maybe we don't put that right there. Let's just say Azathoth is the creator god of the universe. Known as the blind idiot god. He wallows to the music of ethereal flutes at the center of creation. Mindless, yeah, I like this. His mindless and chaotic nature may mean he is oblivious to his creation of the oblivious even to the existence of the universe he created. Instead, being ever served. Let's see. Maybe I did accidentally. Almost typed blonde idiot god. In the existence of the universe. He serves. Let's see. He's served. Is served by a. I like that. Retinue of lesser cosmic beings that dance with him to the flutes, dance with him for all eternity. his cult, the cult of Azathoth, are often made up of witches and warlocks. See, this one seems to be the easy one, that if you're going to put some type as far as our power goes, because arguably they're the only ones who display a power, arguably, if the magic exists, on screen anyway, are Acantha and Shay. Witches and warlocks who sign their name in his black book. It's 86 words. Oh, did I write lesser comic beings? Yep. Okay. Let's see what we got here. I don't know how much we actually need here. Especially for space reasons. Like that's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 5 sentences. So something like that. Yeah, I think it is pretty good here. Let's see. So Azathoth is the creator god of the universe, known as the blind idiot god. He wallows to the music of ethereal flutes at the center of creation. His mindless and chaotic nature may mean he's oblivious. He is oblivious even to the existence of the universe he created. He is served by a retinue of lesser cosmic beings that dance with him for all eternity. His cult, the cult of Azathoth, that should be we'll just say, made up of witches and warlocks who sign their name in his black book. All right, that sounds pretty good. Yeah, that's not a good name here. I was thinking about that. I was writing that out. His cult, because it's just the cult of Azathoth, so that makes sense. And we are talking about, well, actually, the chapter title here is going to be The Cults. So rather than Azathoth, this should probably be titled The Cult of Azathoth. And likewise, The Cult of Cthulhu. Keep all of our structure consistent here. Okay, so powers. And since they're the only ones who show up, so how do we phrase this? So, I mean, we could write, okay, that you can teleport. Okay, because that's what sort of implied happens a couple of times, that they can teleport, because, in the dreams of the witch house, when you've got the formula, the mathematical formula written out, okay, the witches are traveling through time and space. So you could just say this, but I say that and say that's what's happening. But I think that since we're saying that this book right here kind of assumes that it's not real, now you can play a different way, but this assumes the magic is not real, that instead we just describe what the effect is that they can do. And then whether or not that it was something that coincidental that happened, or whether it was something that was real that happened, or whether it was something that happened in some other mundane way, you just leave that open, kind of like how we left it open in the story. So rather than saying something like, magical teleportation, because that would make it explicit, we need to say something like, by the way, this is going to be choose one. There might only be one, but choose one. And then what I'm thinking, because like this won't be a character sheet. So unlike this up here, these up here are the character sheets. So if we're going to say insult cult list right here. So, okay, cult, choose one. So we are saying that all of these narrative roles need to have, is this in alphabetical order? Yeah. Azathoth. And then I want to put like a blurb, power, like just to remind you what that power is. Or we might need to have checkboxes underneath each god if we end up with more than one. So what we'll have, something that looks like this. Azathoth, Cthulhu, Dagon, Shub, Yogg-Sothoth. On here. So that way, if you get this and you decide to play the dandy, for instance, then okay, then you pick this up. I think if we can do some kind of players pack, then we'll have like a pad of character sheets. That's what I'd like to have anyway. I haven't priced that yet, but I assume that something like that can be done. So then you just tear one off. You can print it out of the book or tear one off and then character name, choose your cult, choose your troubles, choose your sway skills. There you go. Yeah, Mike says enter or exit a scene at will. See, I like that kind of text. So instead, enter, yeah, something like enter or exit a scene at will at a location of your choice. But I think that's the location of your choice. That they even can become the infiltrators, right? Like if you've got a situation where like how is somebody going to get in there? Or how do we get somebody on the inside? Well, maybe they can just do it. I would say that's the iconic cult of Azathoth power. Now, other things that we see them do. We see Acantha brewing potions. Well, we actually see both of them. We see Shay working in season 2. We see Shay working with some type of magical spell casting something. And then Acantha is as well. So brainstorm as a brainstorm down here. We could have something. We could have something that relates to potions. We could also, let's see, what else do we have here? And Shay at least suggests that she has, killed people and knows how to hex or curse someone. That could be, because these could be psychosomatic hexes or curses, and both of these. How do you spell psychosomatic? Psychosomatic. Because if the target believes it works, it might be just as good. But I don't want to touch. We need some way to describe. We got she also makes the muffins. The word it should be something like produce a potion. Produce a potion in a scene. From your robe or wherever else that another cultist will believe does something, or a hex or a curse. You perform a hex or a curse that the other person believes is going to be effective. Like even Steve, that could be also for the cult of Shub, something like that. Because of course they actively threaten him. They're probably going to do something magical to him. But certainly by the time that Steve is sitting there the cult of Shub has visited Steve on the park bench, he thinks those women are going to do something to them. All right, let's try to get at least one for each one. And if we have some other brainstorm notes, let's grab them. So Cthulhu. All right, I'm going to rewrite all of this up here too. Cthulhu is a dreadful god like that, God being from a distant, let's drop star system, this dreadful God being who walked on Earth about 350 million years ago and fought. Let's see, God who? Let's just say who fought a major war with the elder things on Earth about 350 million years ago. Today, he is trapped in an underwater temple. Somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. Today, he's trapped in an underwater temple in a deathless sleep. His cultists believe that when the stars are right, certain rituals, he will reawaken. And dominate the world. What is the cult of Cthulhu's power going to be? See, the odd thing is that in the cultists, we have Dave, who is the casual cultist of Cthulhu, and we have Rob, who's the high priest of Dagon. But the cults of Dagon and the cults of Cthulhu are highly associated with one another. So Rob, explains things about Cthulhu. He ends up, dedicating himself to Cthulhu. So we've got this through the branding. So we've got this association between the cults of Dagon and cults of Yog-Sothoth. We didn't actually end up with a serious cultist of Cthulhu, interestingly, in the show. Because we've got Dag, but he's kind of drifting toward, Dagon. He's the conflicted anyway. So if we were going to see one, I like the idea of them being a bit crazed, dominate the world. His cult is decentralized. See, we don't need the information about Mu and Mesopotamia. Hey, PH. Yep, it is Mother's Day, so that's understandable. We were talking about, I haven't finished the section on magic that's inspired by the barbarians of Lemuria. I tried to watch Eric the Viking. For some reason, the YouTube stream wasn't working. So I've still got that to do. But I did start writing that section on magic, and we'll look at that probably next time. But I think that was really important, so thank you. I'm glad you had a good Mother's Day. Because that kind of seems to imply that it's real. This may not be right. And is Miskatonic real? Probably not. Is Miskatonic in the world of the cultists? Probably not. I don't think so. He'll re-raken and dominate the world. His cult is his cultists are known for their I like the barbaric and uncivilized. That may be unnecessary, but barbaric and uncivilized and crazed nature. For their uncivilized and crazed nature, tattoos, branding, or scarification. They are decentralized. With an oral tradition. oral tradition to pass down ritual knowledge. So Cthulhu is a dreadful god being who fought a major war with the Elder Things on Earth about 350 million years ago. Today, he's trapped in an underwater temple somewhere in the Pacific Ocean in a deathless sleep. His cultists believe that, when the stars are right, he will reawaken and dominate the world. His cultists are known for their uncivilized and crazed nature, including tattooing, which includes, we need parallelism here, which includes tattooing, scarification, and branding. They are decentralized with an oral tradition. They are decentralized, and rather than writing, use an oral tradition to pass down ritual knowledge. Does that sound pretty good? Fanaticism, right? Are known for their no, I like that. Which may be different. Okay, fanaticism. There we go. Known for their fanaticism and their uncivilized and crazed nature. They are decentralized. Okay, there we go. Power. We'll type these out. If you have ideas, we'll put them in the section. Because like I said, we don't even have who would somebody who is a crazed, uncivilized fanatic? What kind of power would they have in a comedy story? When would they? What kind of thing could they do that nobody else could? Cthulhu inspires dreams in others. Oh yeah, there is the dreaming element, and it actually at one time there was also a dreaming element to one of the shows. We were going to have Dave in his dreams think he was being contacted by well, it was an evil book that was talking to him in his dreams. Yeah, so if it's Cthulhu inspired dreams, spouts of mad visions. Let's put that. Just Cthulhu spouts or receive mad visions that can help you move the plot along in some way. When Rob is acting in this way, he is when he's talking about the cult of Cthulhu and what Cthulhu does. He's often doing this to have to have knowledge that other people go along with. So that would be something like this to meaning that you end up with having some knowledge other cultists think is real. Possibly divinely inspired. Yes. Yes. So Rob did have a dream vision. So there was that in season 1. So Rob, and he reenacted it for the cameras. So Rob had a dream that something had damaged his fish. So that's also like prophecy or being prophetic. Because that's how Rob takes that. That I looked up in the mirror and my fish had turned into a skeleton, and so that must mean that something bad is happening. I'm receiving an omen here. Mike says, inspire fanaticism in a group of people, mob mentality leader. Oh, that's good too. Rob does that when he's acting in the trying to worship Cthulhu as well. So power could be something like inspire. Fanaticism, if I can ever spell that. Groups of people or mob mentality leader. The mob mentality leader kind of thing. That sounds like more fun. Because we've got a narrative role called the fanatic. Because I certainly don't imply that you have to, in order to be a fanatic, you have to be the fanatic narrative role. You have to be a cultist of Cthulhu. Because that's not true. Like all of these should go with multiples. I mean, Azathoth, caretaker, check. I mean, it could be the conflicted, check. It could be definitely the critic. We see parts of that in Shay. The dandy, that was the Azathoth was going to be the warlock. Vander was going to be that. Eldergoth, I mean, all that works for Azathoth. Metachromism, obviously. Maverick, yes. So those work. So does Cthulhu work? Yeah, well, novitiate, that works. It kind of seems like it might be hard to have the caretaker be Cthulhu, but you could. I mean, let somebody at the table make all of these different things work. LARPer, lackey, absolutely. Grouch, sure. Fanatic, that works. Elder Goth, that works. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it's important they play nice. Okay, Dagon. Dagon, also known as Father Dagon, is a powerful sea creature revered as a god by the Deep Ones, over whom he and his consort Mother Hydra hold dominion. While serving Cthulhu as a chief, as his chief celebrant under the sea, Dagon maintains an elaborate social structure among the Deep Ones. We need to move to talking actually about the cult here. Depicted as a merman-like figure, Dagon's appearance remains elusive, but rituals involving seawater and blood have been used to commune with him, granting believers ritual powers. Let's move that. Yeah, mental fish powers. Yeah, okay. Now we should totally do something with mental fish powers. Like what type of powers should these guys have? Powers. Mental fish powers. Well, and Bella in her after credit scene says, when she's desecrating Yog-Sothoth's altar, I have the power of fish. His cultists, we should say something about the Philistines. His cultists often trace their lineage all the way back to the biblical Philistines. Have a long tradition. I think maybe as our quote down here, I have fish. I have the power of fish. PH says, mob leader mentality is a sway skill. Sorry, many people here. I thought of sway and troubles for the fanatic being believing in himself and doubting himself. So we don't need. Oh, so, wait. For the fanatic being believing himself and doubting himself as opposed traits. So over here for the fanatic. Oh, we were working on the fanatic. So you were saying here for the fanatic, we don't have to have sway skills and troubles for the cults. We just for the narrative roles. You were saying believing in himself and doubting himself as opposed traits. Your trouble would be doubting yourself or your beliefs. And that the believing in himself or belief in himself and faith. Something like that. Summon guppies and invisibility. Yeah, you can have your guppies. You can have tons of those whenever you need them. Dagon's insight into another character's currents of motivation in a scene. Yeah, this is important. So yeah, something like that. Let's see. Well, let me put that down here on Dagon. Is that something insight into character motivation? So for the cults, we just have to have powers. In fact, let's take a look at what it actually says. And now is a good time to go back to that. So select 3 sway skills. Let's see. Okay. So select your cult. This says, perhaps the most interesting thing about playing the Cultist RPG is being a member of one of the many Lovecraftian cults. Players are free to combine their narrative role with membership in whatever cult they choose. Players might all choose to be part of the same cult or might choose to be from a variety of different cults, like in the Cultist web series. Define your character's abilities. Oh, this says abilities. The cult has each cult has a special power. So let's make it ability here. So maybe I need to make sure I change all that. So let's go ability. Maybe if we think of it as ability, that'll be easier to do anyway. So ability. Each cult has a special ability. The section on cults in the back of this book has a variety of different recommended abilities. So if it says that up here, we need to make sure that happens, or I need to change it up here. Recommended. So this needs to be revised anyway. The section on cults in this book has a variety of different recommended abilities for each cult. Players should choose one for their character. Alternatively, players can define what special ability this says character's abilities. Define your character's special ability. Each cult, why do I say that? The section, see, each cult has a variety of recommended special abilities. Of different possible special abilities. Players choose one for their character. This special ability, I mean, the purpose of this is to, these should be, so what is the purpose should be, these special abilities, the special ability should allow some uniqueness of the cult to impact the narrative structure of the game and drive the narrative forward. Let's make this story structure, because this is what impact the story structure of the game. So we need something here, the story structure of the game. Each cult has a variety of possible special abilities. Why do we need the word different? We really don't. Each cult has a variety of possible special abilities. Players should choose one for their character. This special ability allows some uniqueness of the cult to have a mechanical impact on the game and help drive the narrative forward. Alternatively, players can let's say choose what special ability their character has when it comes up during play. So that's kind of fate-like too. So you can choose it in advance, but why do that? Maybe if you have a variety, if we had come up with 3 for each one, then when the special power comes up, choose one of your special powers that happens to where actually I kind of like that. If every cult had like 3 special powers, you're only going to get to use 1 special power in a game. Well, now, okay, that's another question. Like, can you only use 1 special power once during the game, or can you use it multiple times during the game? Acantha and Shay use their pop in on a scene multiple times. They do that twice. Let's see. Zero the Blade says that would explain why Digimon Cthulhu has control over a fish type Digimon. Now that I think about it, it must be that there's all this crossover here. Unshakable for Cthulhu. Okay, but so that's actually a good question here. What are our powers in? We'll take a look at our powers in low stakes. But like, can you receive mad visions more than once? Like, if you choose receive mad visions, can that happen more than once in a game? Why not? Why not? Because that could be a reoccurring thing. You say, I know I can only do that once. That could be something that reoccurs at various intervals and drives that forward. It could be just, okay, you're receiving mad visions. Okay. Likewise with Azathoth, you might enter or exit a scene more than once. And if potions are what's going on, if you choose potions, for instance, if we're doing that, or hexes, it could come up more than once. So what we would say here is you only choose 1 for your character. However, once chosen, that special power may be used multiple times during the game whenever narratively appropriate. So you only choose 1 for the game, but whenever it's relevant, then you got it. You can do it. Special ability allows this special ability or special abilities allow some uniqueness of the cults to have a mechanical impact on the game and help. Oh, I didn't finish that. Drive the narrative. Characters may wait to choose what special ability their character has until the opportunity to use one comes up in play. Okay, actually, this sentence should be first because that's what this is. What define your character's special ability? Not we got define up here again. Let's say choose. Choose your character's special ability. Special abilities allow some uniqueness of the cults. Special abilities allow some uniqueness of the cults. Now, each cult has a variety of special abilities that allow some uniqueness, some of their uniqueness to have a mechanical impact on the game and help drive the narrative. Players should choose one special ability for their character from the list of their cult, from the list provided with their cult. Once chosen, that special power may be used multiple times during the game, whenever narratively appropriate. Alternatively, players may wait to choose what special ability their character has until the opportunity to use one comes up during the play. Now, actually, I'm thinking about maybe this is just the way that it should totally be. That also says that that would also mean that if you are playing like a campaign game when you are trying to adapt your character, if you choose one special power, that's not a special power for that entire character, for the rest of that character's existence. That's a special power for that particular game. And I think we should probably say that here. Mike says, yeah, like gets to ask out of character, what's the motivation in the scene if it's unclear, and then sort of knows this in character. That might help keep the scenes focused more. So anyway, but there may not be a game master to ask that to, because this can be played game masterless. By default, low stakes doesn't have a game master. Now, I wrote in a section on having a game master about how you do that if you have a game master, but these need to work with and without having a game master. So that's important to think about too. Hey, Micah, good to see you. They probably could. Hey, Charlie. Oh, you're also doing Mother's Day retail. I understand. I hear you. I'm expecting there to be a lot of people at the winery today, starting at noon as well. Take care. Oh, yeah, once chosen. Thank you. PH says, for Cthulhu, there could be an ability like being part of him, one being another tentacle, an extension of the elder god, like a vessel or portal that would allow the god to manifest against one. Yeah, it would have to be, you'd have to come up with this with you'd have to have a dialogue with the other players about it. Yes. Players may choose one special ability for their character special abilities are not chosen. No, I got a problem here. This says choose your character's special ability, and I'm saying, well, no, it's not chosen. It's not chosen. And so this would be like review your character's possible special ability. Each cult has a variety of possible special abilities that allow them some of their uniqueness to have a mechanical impact on the game and help drive the narrative. are not chosen at the start of the game, but rather players do not define a special ability I don't like the I mean, we've got the alternate thing for the GM play, but overall I don't like the, well, now here's what you do. Now alternatively, you may also do this. Like whichever way is the best way, we should just go with that. Players should not define a special ability for their character of the game, but rather may wait until may wait to choose what special ability when it comes up during play. Once chosen, is this helping? I think it is. I feel like this paragraph's taking a while. Once chosen, their special power may not be changed, but it may be used multiple times during the game whenever narratively appropriate. If players are playing the same characters in a campaign, see playing a campaign, page YYY. Clear the special power or special ability selection before the start of each game. There we go. The same characters in a campaign. All right, let's try this one more time. Review your character's possible special abilities. Each cult has a variety of special abilities that allow some of their uniqueness to have a mechanical impact on the game and help drive the narrative. Players do not define a special ability for their character at the start of the game, but rather wait to choose what special ability their character has until the opportunity to use one comes up during play. Once chosen, that special power may not be changed, but it may be used multiple times during the game whenever narratively appropriate. If players are playing the same characters in a campaign, clear the characters' special ability selections at the start of each game. I like that. That sounds like the most fun way to do it. All right. I need to read that one more time. And then, so that's what our special abilities are. I like that. That may help us define these for the rest of the players. Review your, but we should say players should review what possible abilities being a member of their cult could grant them. That way, take a look at it. Understand what this is. Review your character's possible special abilities. Each cult has a variety of possible special abilities that allow some of their uniqueness to have a mechanical impact on the game and help drive the narrative. Players should review what possible abilities being a member of their cult could grant them. Of what abilities being a member of their cult could grant them. Players do not define a special ability for their character at the start of the game, but rather wait to choose what special ability their character has until the opportunity to use one comes up in play. Once chosen, that special power may not be changed, for the remainder of the game, but it may be used multiple times during the game whenever narratively appropriate. If the players are playing the same characters in a campaign, clear the character's special ability selections at the start of each game. Well, I don't think that's exactly it. So, because you could choose one before the session, and after using it, you lose it until next session. Yeah, I mean, that's one way. Like, you could choose it before, and then you get one use of it. Or you could choose it before and then let it come up anytime, be used anytime that's narratively appropriate. But on the other hand, I mean, that why bring in the Vancian wizard? I got to figure out what type of situation I'm going to be in, at the start here, especially in this kind of loose kind of game. So you just know that, hey, listen, I've got these potential things that I can do. When a situation comes up, because it would suck to say like, oh, this would be the perfect situation for me to use, for instance, the potion, psychosomatic potion kind of thing. But I picked the other thing that, and I got to come up with some way to use it. But now, okay, if it's funny, if it's useful to have that, and you're like, oh, I haven't used my special power yet. I tell you what, I'm going for a potion right here. Let's do it. I like that. Multiple times. Used multiple times. Select 3 tropes. So that's it. Okay, so of course I'll come back through all of this again, but that's what we're trying to do. That's the goal here. Hey, regular Jeff. Good morning. Good morning. PH says, I don't like Vancian. This way is much better. It's more fun. I like this too. Okay, so we were just looking here. Okay, so Dagon. I didn't think about, we can use pull quotes. Maybe it's best for a pull quote. Maybe we just, I didn't think about putting in pull quotes. When Brianna does layout, if she needs them, see, we probably have too much text. But if she needs them, we can put this kind of stuff in here. While desecrating the altar of Yog-Sothoth. Her brother's altar of Yog-Sothoth. Episode, season 1, episode X, don't remember. End credit scene. After credit scene. Maybe too much. That's not Log-Sothoth. Let's see. So, okay, so let's get ideas. So we can pour out ideas. Let's go over here to Nyarlathotep. Nyarlathotep, also known as the Crawling Chaos and the Black Man, is unique among the elder gods. Is because he often, because he takes an active role in the affairs of humanity, because he has taken an active role in the affairs of humanity throughout history. Famously, his cultists describe his it's not manifestation. Does that work? His well, yeah, I guess manifestation. His manifestation as an Egyptian pharaoh. During that time, he reshaped religious beliefs and established an enduring magical tradition. Okay, so we're not doing Napoleon's tomb here, or let's discover the tomb by Napoleon's forces, because we don't think in the context of the cultist that may have really happened. We can say beyond, but his influence extends beyond Egypt. Extends beyond Egypt to diverse civilizations and mythologies, such as Central and South American ancient Central and South American leaders, civilizations, and Asiatic shamanistic sects. So Nyarlathotep, also known as the Crawling Chaos and the Black Man, is seemingly unique among the Elder Gods because he has taken an active role in the affairs of humanity through history. Famously, his cultists describe his manifestation as an Egyptian pharaoh. Famously, his cultists ardently believe his most famous manifestation was as an Egyptian pharaoh. During that time, he reshaped the religious beliefs Egyptian religious beliefs, and established an enduring magical tradition. But his influence extends beyond Egypt to diverse, let's just say, to ancient Central and South American civilizations, as well as Asiatic shamanistic sects. That's probably enough. The cult of Nyarlathotep. Nyarlathotep, known as the Crawling Chaos and the Black Man, is seemingly unique among the Elder Gods because he has taken an active role in the affairs of humanity throughout history. Famously, his cultists ardently believe... his cultists believe... I don't need famously to. His cultists ardently believe his most famous manifestation was as an Egyptian pharaoh. During that time, he reshaped Egyptian religious beliefs and established an enduring magical tradition. But his influence extends beyond Egypt to Central and South American civilizations, as well as Asiatic shamanistic sects. Cool. Oh, disguise. Oh, to go unnoticed. I like that one. Yep. Akhenaten reshape religious belief and magical practice. I've never really looked into it, but I wonder if interviews exist where Akhenaten is maybe revealed as a partial inspiration for Nyarlathotep. I have no idea. That's interesting. I have no idea. Let's see. Okay, disguise to go unnoticed. Yeah, so we need at least, I guess if we're going to have people choose, we'll need more than one. Of course, he's also the son of Azathoth. Think about this. Let's see, what do we have for Shub? Shub-Nogoroth, the ancient goddess of fertility, known by many names, is the matriarch of abdominal creatures. Her worshippers conduct secretive rituals in forests, sanctifying the wilderness in her honor. From ancient temples like the Copper Temple of the Goat to modern covens, her worship spans civilizations and eras. Tales of her cult's resurgence. Oh, I mean, I like this. Okay. Shub-Nogoroth is an ancient goddess of fertility. Revered as the mother. Oh, look, it's Mother's Day. Oh, it's Mother's Day. So wearing a Shub-Nogoroth shirt, that's appropriate. Adept at using and spreading propaganda for propaganda. Let's see, but also something should tie into Nyarlathotepian magical traditions. What about a Brazilian cult of forest deity that has nothing to do with the other cults? An immigrant cultist is unaware of his awkwardness and not fitting into the theme. You can play that one. Bring that one in. Mother with 1,000 young. Yeah, so this, if we need a quote here. The black goat of the woods with 1,000 young. Is an ancient goddess of fertility revered as the mother of all abominable creatures. Her worshippers conduct secret rituals in forests and sanctify in her honor. Okay, from ancient temples like the Copper Temple of the Goat, like ancient temples like the supposed Copper Temple of the Goat in Mu, to secretive modern covens. Her worship spans civilizations and eras. Let's change that. Her worship see, her cult. I think we say ancient quite a bit here. What's going on here? Let's see. Seduction. Absolutely. Domination. Talking about stomach, there's a Brazilian creature with the mouth on the stomach. It's called a Mapinguari. It's derived from Jurapari, not a demon, but a manifestation of evil itself. There was a cult of Jurapari. I need to read about that. Yeah, because what do we see them? We see the cult of Shub. Definitely with powers of seduction, domination. We see them even I mean, they make their threats in the show and they follow through with it. As far as actually do something horrible, assuming that Steve did die, assuming that they did kill him, then they're the ones who have actually done something terrible. That's why, they're the other world. They're like, this is the cult of Shub combined with the Elder Goth. That's Sherry, right? So Sherry's out there living the dream. And it's possible that because they're the ones who are the outsiders. That's why I was calling the Elder Goth earlier the outsider, because they are outside of normal life, right? They're like outside. Whereas the main cultists have to straddle that line between the cult life and the real world. There's a certain group that doesn't have to straddle it. And so it makes sense for them to have been the ones who have actually done something terrible. But did they actually do something terrible because it is the Shub, or is it because they are the Elder Goth? And I think that maybe because that's the Elder Goth. James Bacon says, I had to get up for a bit a little while ago. Are we discussing the potential for actual magic powers in this section? Shub cultists would likely have to perform coven rituals to refresh their power. Now we're still trying to phrase these things. The goal, I think, would be to phrase these powers so they don't have to be explicitly magical. Like when we're talking about Azathoth, enter or exit a scene at will at a location of your choice. Is that magical or is that non-magical? It doesn't matter. The effect is going to be the same, that you can enter a scene at a location of your choice. So that calls upon the teleportation thing. So I think they all need to be written kind of like that. Yeah, it could be. Curses. Yeah, this is another one where threats and curses. Because as long as the other player the other character or whatever believes they are under that effect. That's why it's better if the person knows about it. Or if the person's just having bad luck, they may think that they're cursed. Yogg-Sothoth. Let's go with this. We're gonna have to look at this here. I'm gonna have to go in just a couple of minutes here. But the cult of Yogg-Sothoth. Yogg-Sothoth, an elder god, defies mortal comprehension. Oh, we know he's an elder god. Yogg-Sothoth defies mortal comprehension, existing beyond time and space. As a deity of knowledge and gateways, his influence spans occult intelligentsia and ancient magical tradition. Cultists venerate him through rituals tied to stone circles and seek arcane wisdom from forbidden texts like the Necronomicon. His devotees pursue a quest for ultimate knowledge, aiming to commune directly with him, risking annihilation. To gain spiritual light, to aim to commune directly with him, by sharing their brain. All the knowledge it contains. Risking annihilation to gain spiritual enlightenment. What's the line? If Yog-Sothoth is so, what was the line? Something. Why is he letting his top disciple fail algebra? Again. And that's Mom. That would be season 1. Okay. Yeah, I think that's going to be enough. So then we moved some of these things down to potential stretch goals, including this would become a 14th role, an elder god just hanging out. Potential reformed cultist, like a Cantha as an alternate build, the Yellow King, Nodens, and who knows, maybe Normie. We will see. Okay, well, this was fun. I hope to be able to do. I don't know if I will do a show tomorrow. I'm going to work on this tomorrow. I may need to just completely work tomorrow. But what I'll do is I'll plan on doing another stream on Wednesday morning. Now, Tuesday. Oh, by the way, Tuesday night. I got to get ready for that because Tuesday night is the 100th episode of the of Table Talk. So Tuesday night at 7:00 on the Table Talk channel, we're putting together the rolling panel. So I've already invited people on. So we got people. In fact, I might need to reach out to a couple more people. I think almost everybody who I reached out to accepted, which was fantastic. Only a couple of people had, obligations and prior commitments, and so couldn't make it. But we're going to do a rolling panel on Tuesday night at 7:00 on the Table Talk channel. So that's the next live stream. But then probably Wednesday, I think I should probably try to stream again Wednesday morning on the subject of the Cultist RPG. So I'll work on all this tomorrow. Then on Wednesday, we'll get back together. So that sounds good. All right. I will also go through the comments here after the stream and add these notes that I see coming through here to these guys. So that's what it looks like here. So I'll see you guys for Tuesday night for Table Talk, and then Wednesday morning again for the grind. All right. Happy Mother's Day. Yes, happy Mother's Day. Don't forget, everybody. It's Mother's Day. Don't forget. Everybody, go forth, be creative, be constructive, and grind on. Later.